Are you tired of trading double bottoms only to see yourself getting stopped out? Well, in today's video, I'm going to share with you guys how you can use order flow to increase the probabilities of that double bottom trading pattern working out. So let's talk about what a double bottom is. And a double bottom is going to be when you see the market coming down, we set a pivot point and the market retraces up. Sometimes it's up a little bit, sometimes it's all the way up higher. In this case, I'm going to draw it just like this. We come down and the second low is usually in the general vicinity. Now, it's not always exactly where the prior low is. Sometimes this will be a little bit higher. Sometimes it'll be slightly lower, but then the second leg comes in and we'll see the market turn and go out of this area. Now, how do we tell when this pattern is going to fail and when it's going to work? Because the example I showed you guys in the very beginning of this video, this is where the market broke down from what we were perceiving to be a potential double bottom pattern. But then if we scroll over here, look, double bottom, boom, market rockets up. We come back down, you can say this little double bottom or a triple bottom, boom, the market rallies up, and then it does it once again. And just to let you guys know, these are huge moves in the market. In the NASDAQ, from low all the way up to the high, that is 83 points of potential profit. Now, I'm not saying you're going to catch that whole entire move, but what if you can catch 5, 10, 15, 20, or even 40 points out of that move? Wouldn't it be very nice to know which ones are actually going to bounce at that level versus the ones that are actually going to fail, like the one right here, like the one when we broke down below the lows over here? And I'm going to show you some very similar characteristics that you guys can start applying to the double bottom trading pattern. So now let's look at that first instance. Let's look at the double bottom that actually failed when price came right back through it, sliced through where we could have potentially thought the market was going to turn. Now, for this, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Bookmap. Now, right here, this white line is exactly the same price point as this swing point right over here. It's the same area on the chart. Now, what is missing from this area? Here's where we set the swing point, and I'm going to scroll the market over to the right, and I want you guys to see something. Here's where the market comes blasting through that level. Now, what makes us think that this level is not going to hold, that the double bottom is not going to work? Well, for that answer, we need to go back and look at, in the times after that, why did the market potentially bounce out of that area? We can even come over and look at this swing point over here as well. But first, let's jump over to the time on Bookmap at 1506. So now as we come over to Bookmap and we look right over here around the 1506 price point, which is where price made the low originally. Now, this is a concept that we talk about all the time during the live streams at night, which I stream live Monday through Thursday at 8:45 p.m. So if you want to join me during the Asia session, make sure you're subscribed and you have the bell notifications turned on. But look at this red line right here. This level 82 lets me know contracts were added to this area right down here. Now, what does this mean? This means we have passive buyers in the market. Buyers that say, you know what? If the market gets down there, I want to go ahead and transact at that level. AKA, there are resting limit orders sitting there. Now, there's another thick order sitting right below that area. So if this level gives, we're probably going to flush a little bit lower, but look what happens. We bounce up, we come right back into it, and the size of the bubble is showing aggression on the seller side. If the bubble is red, and look, were we able to push through that level? No. So what does that mean? As we start pushing back above it, that means that buyers actually won that battle, and that would be right over here. But this is not the double bottom. This is the first push up and out. Let's now come back and look at that same area right here at the time of 1519. Now, as we come back over and look right here around 1519 or so, look what we did once again. Big orders of buyers sitting down here. We get the red bubble showing up, a lot of sellers trying to sell into that area. And what happens? We cannot even get down there. The buyers absorb it. We get back above that bubble, and then the market goes rocketing up to the upside. Now, that must be a one-off event, right? Well, let's come over and look at 1535 in Bookmap. This is the area where we came into that area once again. We rejected up and out. That's the time where we actually ran 83 points. So here it is once again. Here's that big buyer order at the same price point. What do we see? Sellers come down, big bubble. We go up a little bit, we come down. And then now as we come down once again, look, the sellers weren't as aggressive. We start overtaking that bubble, and then we rocket up once again. Well, let's look at this time over here where we actually overshot it a little bit more. That time is going to come in at 1556. Now, as we come back over and look at right here between 1555, 1556, here's that red order down here. This is showing us we have a large buyer in the market. And what do we get? Big selling into that area. As we start coming back above it, what does that let us know? That lets us know there's absorption taking place, that the sellers are not able to overtake the buyers, and the buyers go ahead and push us back up. So as we start pushing away from that red bubble, that is a big clue that, you know what? Price is likely going to reject off this level. The buyer sitting right below us is just too strong at this moment. Now let's go back over and revisit another time that didn't work right over here. Right here, and we're gonna go back to the time period of 1443. So as we look at Bookmap right there, 1443, here where this white line represents the low. And if you look, we have no big buying orders sitting down there. So that's exactly why when we come back down there once again, you can see as we scroll over, what does price do? Just keeps going down. Where is price going to be attracted to? It's going to be attracted to where liquidity is in the market. So think about the big orders as twofold. One, they can provide a rejection. If the orders are sitting above us, it could be a rejection on the way back down. In this example, the orders are sitting below us and it can be a rejection on the way back up. But twofold, it could also be a target location, a strong magnet pulling price down towards that liquidity level. That's where big institutions have to transact. That way they don't move the markets in a big way. Also, around these levels, this is also areas where you can start to see stop runs in the market. Now, if you'd like to learn more about Bookmap and get a 20% discount, use the link down below. Now, I showed you guys a few examples of when that actually worked, but can we also use Bookmap, aka Orderflow, to be able to spot when it is actually not going to work, even if we have a large order sitting there? And for this example, let's go ahead and we're going to look at right around the 950 price point. And then I want to see when we come down here, you might say, well, Mike, that's in the ballpark. Well, if you actually look from the low here to the low all the way down here, that's about a 15-point move. Do you really want to run a 15-point stop loss? Let's go ahead and take a look at Bookmap, and more specifically, let's take a look at the price point at about 1960 and then all the way down here at the low at 1009. So I want you guys to pay very close attention. What do you think this big red order is? Look at the price point in which it's sitting at. It's sitting right up here, 19,060. That 19,060 is essentially where the swing point is right over here. But then look what happens as we come into the 1009 price candle. All right, here's the large order. We're coming into that 1009 price candle, and look, we get the big bubble. This is showing us that the sellers are aggressively selling into that big buyer that's sitting here. But what is different this time versus the time I showed you guys in the past? This time, we're not getting back above the large seller in the market, the aggression going into that limit order. Instead, we actually push substantially lower. But I want you guys to pay attention to a characteristic. As we continue to go lower, we get another decent sized bubble. Then we get a smaller one, and then we get an even smaller bubble. Now, what is that showing us? As the bubbles continue to get smaller, as we continue to push in a particular direction, in this case, it's letting us know that the selling is starting to dry up. Then at that point, if you want to get aggressive on a move, where would be the likely target? Right back up here to where that prior resting order is and where the aggression took place on the sell side of the market. This is why I love using Bookmap to trade double bottom patterns, because I have a very clear insight into when that pattern is going to bust. Now, are there occasions where you see big selling coming into the market, we start to push up only to come back down? Yes, not every signal in the stock market is going to work. But what I will tell you is by using Bookmap, it has helped me substantially to go ahead and verify, will a moving average touch hold? Will a double bottom pattern like what we've been showing in today's video hold, or is it likely to break? And if you're a breakout trader and you don't like to play the bounce up, guess what? You see the big bubble at the big buying order, which is also at a swing point. We start breaking below it. Wow, that is an easy scalp to the downside to make an easy trade to the downside. Now, if you want to learn how to use Bookmap and Orderflow to trade volume profile, watch this video right here.